One Punch Man 108. Saitama versus Orochi, or Orochi versus Saitama. Does it matter? No. Did the chapter matter? To me, yeah. So this was an excellent chapter. I've actually done a live reaction for this one. You can go watch it. I'll put the card somewhere. I don't know how to do that, but I'll do it. Yeah, brilliant. I had a good old time reading this one, as you can watch, and I'll just get on to reviewing now. Where do I start? So chapter starts off, of course, with Saitama just talking to Orochi just very normally, and Orochi just takes none of it. You know, he's obviously like, "Hey, I'm from upstairs, and I came to try and see what this noise is about, and I found you." So immediately Orochi uses his horns like he does against Go, just like bam, 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 and Saitama he goes like, "Oh," and then he's like, I haven't heard of you, but you are a unique threat to us, one who must be eliminated immediately. And just straight away to set the tone of how this fight's gonna go is just Saitama immediately, just very simple and goofy looking, you're like, hang on, just immediately lifts up the tendril like, hell, what do you mean us? There's more of you guys down here? And then it's a great way to set the tone of the fight. It really is. But I didn't even talk about the cover, which is stupid of me, because the cover is gorgeous, you know? It's so rare to see, these different kind of... We character designs. What is going on with me tonight? We're so used to seeing these characters in just regular clothes. The only clothes we kind of really see them in, you know? So it's nice to see outfits like this. But because of the quality of Murata's art, which I feel like I don't need to talk about because everyone knows how great it is. It's just Bang in the suit looks amazing. I want more outfits like this. I want more crossover outfits like this. What I mean by that is the people who wear quite normal clothing. So for example, Saitama and Genos, things we see them are mostly casual kind of clothes. I want to see them more dressed up, like we've seen with Bang here. And then I want to see the opposite. So characters like Amai Mask and Fubuki, who are normally quite smartly dressed, I want to see them casual because it looks nice, because the change is different. It's not what we're used to, and it looks good. So back to it after Saitama obviously blocks the thing, and he's like, look, you guys keep coming after me, I just fight back. And that's true for Saitama. And it's obviously it's a very heroic thing to do as well, because it's obviously what One Punch Man's all about. Well, no it's not. What are you doing? What are you doing, Matt? Something I love next is what Orochi does, because he immediately, after the horns, it's like he literally is going through the same stages of when he fought Goro, so obviously just a lot faster. So when obviously Orochi, the next attack he does is he opens up his big mouth, his big dinosaur dragon mouth he's got inside of him, and he goes boom, and tries to blast Saitama, and Saitama dodges it, and of course that wakes up Rover, and obviously that is a great moment too, because obviously Rover gets up, and he looks at Saitama, and Orochi's like, kill this man. Saitama, that glare Saitama gives is round two, and then Rover just gets out of there, and I can talk about this now because we may as well. This could really shake up the Monster Association fights from now on, because I guess they've been predictable in the sense of the S-Class heroes fought against the demons, and then eventually they're going to fight against dragon level and executive level monsters, right? And that's obviously not a bad thing because we want to see more of these, but what I mean is it could really shake up matchups because Orochi is no longer there. He is no longer a person who is there to keep them in line. I still remember when Black Sperm kind of went out to challenge Orochi. Orochi took down Awakened Cockroach, and Black Sperm was kind of okay, no, I'm not messing with you, you're the boss. You know, that is the whole point of Orochi, is one of the things, is he kept the Monster Association in line, he kept the executives in line. So, if people learn that Orochi is dead, what is this going to mean for the Monster Association? So, are they all going to, is it going to be, a battle within for it? And then, so maybe we get more, monster fights and more hero monster fights. And, you know, I think, with this, Rover is running around the association now. He could show up at any point, and he could even just end a fight instantly. So, for example, we don't know how Ian and the Swordsman Trio have got up against Devil Longhair. If they're losing, Rover could just barge right through, not even paying attention to Devil Longhair, take him out, and he could show up at any random fight, you know? And if he gets this kind of same look of he has this kind of same warning sign from someone like he did Saitama, it could be a good way to go, okay, Rover's done here, he's gone, we'll put him somewhere else now. And this could really shake up fights and make them different, so we can have multiple heroes against the monster, multiple monsters against a hero, and maybe that's not good with just the executives left, because they should be real powerhouses. But yes, I think that's kind of the main thing to take away from this as well, is I'm talking about things for afterwards. So obviously after Orochi, after Rover just bolts out there, Orochi wants to know what happened, and Saitama goes, I punched him, you know, Like, you burnt my cape up and I can see that you are a real monster. Like, and I take that personally. I know people can see this as, like, Saitama recognizes his strength, but I also took this as, like, as Saitama's been down there, he's basically dealt with streakers, a cat, and a dog in his eyes, you know? So he hasn't, like, faced a proper opponent. Like, he hasn't, but he can't deny from looking at Orochi that Orochi is a monster, so he's, like, prepared to get normal punched. And I guess this is a quick thing to talk about as well, is 94.5. There's a question of, like, you know, Saitama's power scaling of punches too. I thought, like, I don't know if you've read 94.5, it came out, I think, between 107 and 108, but it was just a chapter where Saitama's talking to himself, kind of like, oh, what he expects from a monster fight, and one thing he admits is he doesn't have a killer moveset. So something I thought for a bit, and I'm kind of glad it got confirmed, is the Serious Series is not his Serious Series, because he doesn't have an opponent who he's like, I have to go all out against. He doesn't have an actual killer moveset. So it's debate on, like, how, like, punches, I guess, for Saitama work, but for me it's always been like, you know, there hasn't been an opponent where he's like, I have to hit you with everything I've got now, because if I don't, you're going to beat me, kind of thing. So that makes sense for Serious Series. Why did I bring this up here, unless you're making a point about Orochi? I guess because Orochi's this Dragon Plus level opponent, so that punch he delivers at the end, I should talk about that at the end. But that's my point for the end, in any case. You know, Orochi immediately, so from this, Orochi kind of looks at Saitama, and we get to see a bit more about Orochi as a character, because Orochi really as a character himself hasn't really had much of a personality. He's just been there to be this force of nature, this person who, like, Yoro can count on to just keep everyone in line, to be this overwhelming obstacle. But we are learning a bit more about Orochi, and, like, you know, he's always been just power, 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 but we see that he's not an idiot either. Like, he puts together quite quickly that, you know, Saitama isn't bluffing when he says who he is, and he isn't bluffing when he says what he can do. Because he's like, it explains a lot for people like Goketsu, Elder Centipede, and the monster, the ghost monster of City Z, you know? This guy is him. This is the person who has been causing us issues. This guy is a threat. And the reason we couldn't figure it out was because just like now, I didn't know about him, no one knew about him. And it's such a great way to just set up like this fight, because immediately Orochi transforms into his final form and it looks insanely fantastic. It looks gorgeous. Like, it's a lot smaller and compact. It's a very final form for a boss, because, you know, I think of characters like Frieza, who when he transformed became bigger and stronger and more powerful, but his final form is smaller than any of his other forms, but he's so powerful in that form, and that's what Orochi was for this. Design wise, I thought it was gorgeous, but personally I preferred his other designs. So, like, his more like the first two designs we saw, basically when we saw a manhole, like all the dragons and all, like, you know, the more monsterfied forms of him, because for me Orochi was this monster, you know. Like, when I thought of definitive monsters in One Punch Man, I thought of Orochi, and I don't, if you've watched my videos for a bit, you know how much I love the ridiculous monsters and the ridiculous characters like Demon Showerhead. Hey, if you go back a couple chapters to Pro Chapter, I did a tribute to the Snowman's death. I love those, but it kind of, like, it's just those kind of ghastly designs that Orochi has, like, that make him so terrifying. It works so well for him to build him up as a monster in this threat. So I think if we saw more of Orochi, I'd be more okay with this. If we saw him got pushed to a bit of a further limit before he transformed into this. But I'm not complaining because it still looked good. I just had a personal preference, and oh man, it was so good to see what went on. Because obviously, you know, he goes on his big tirade of a speech where he's all about, like, you know, I'm the pinnacle of monsters, you're the pinnacle of humans, you know, like, you have finally brought excitement to me. And as my sense of growing dull, kind of get to this point of, like, you know, where Saitama is, where, you know, he's too strong, like, no one's a match for him. And he's like, I am the true monster of humanity. So I love this next bit where Saitama just shuts him. It's like, hang on. No, we're not doing this again. I hear this all the time. And it's such a true speech for Saitama, because, like, in his shoes, like, this is all his opponents say, and no one lives up to his expectations. They're all like the king of whatever, you know, the ultimate of this, you know, like the pinnacle of this. And no one ever matches up. And he goes like, look, let's do this, but you're going to get one punched anyway. And I love that, because Saitama kind of just like coming clean, because the amount of people who do it, he was getting sick of it when Deep Seeking, and it makes sense, because when Deep Seeking was doing, he's like, yeah, it's raining, so can we hurry this up? Whereas obviously someone like Orochi, who this is a bit later, the amount of monsters he's faced who are like this are like, just, can we get on with it? He's done with it, and I love that. It's just, it was really funny. So Orochi hits him with everything, like, from the start. Like, that panel is great where all the dragons are raining down on Saitama, but what's great about it is the next page, where obviously Saitama just like, boom, punches and they all get destroyed. And what I love about it more than anything, it's just that little sliver of Saitama. That one where it's just his eyes and he just looks at Orochi like, what did I tell you? You know, it's Saitama like having to live through what he's always lived through again. And it's just, that look is such a great way of going like, is that all you got? It's like, that look is the equivalent of when he goes up to Boros, he's like, blah, 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 are you done yet with this fight? That look is the exact same. So Orochi immediately turns up the level, and this is what I love about Murata's designs, because he goes the extra level. So when the dragons start spiraling around and combine into the massive cannon, just from a start, that's a great power-up sequence for a big attack. It is, oh, look at all these little dragons shooting massive flames of fire out, and all of a sudden, boom. Probably the best art of the chapter is obviously that double spread where Orochi just blasts Saitama with that massive cannon, and it really does put into perspective how big that blast is, because Orochi is a giant monster and Saitama just the blast dwarfs him and it blasts Saitama back. It wrecks the whole city. I love that page with all the effects of like boom, boom, boom. Like you see the shockwave travel through City Z. And one of my favourite things about this is I suppose you kind of look at it as to see who the strong ones are among the S-class heroes. And not to say the others are weak at all, because obviously Darkcharm wasn't there. But what I mean is like Atomic Samurai, the lightning that was coming off the after effect of this blast, he was slicing that up no issue, you know? Bang deflecting the lightning as well. Great feats for both these characters, especially Atomic. Like we've seen Bang fight for a while and we can see what he can do, but Atomic I guess hasn't had like a kind of proper fight. So to see him slice up lightning is incredible. And then I suppose you had other characters like Flashy Flash in the corner, which is great, just like the static like sending his hair up, and then Tatsumaki not even caring about this because she's fighting Joroguro. I just thought it was a great way to kind of, I guess, to show who the strong are among the other S-class heroes. I'd like not to say that the others are weak at all. No, by no means are the other S-class heroes weak, but you know, these are like, look at them, they're the pinnacle. We've got number 2, number 3, number 4, and then we got Flashy Flash, who, I don't know, number 7, number 10 or something? Can't remember Flashy Flash's number. But, you know, we've seen what Flashy can do. So he soloed 2 dragons at the same time, which is a great feat for any hero. So, obviously, we see like how big the blast is, you know, and like that city, and we get confirmation it's still City Z from the subway card because it's got a little Z at the top. And what I like about this is we don't get many feats of Saitama moving fast because we don't need to, because let's face it, anyone charges at him, he's obviously faster than them, we can accept this, but like we don't get to see many times of him actually like going for it and running as fast, like not as fast as he possibly can, but you know what I mean, speed feats where he can actually like show how fast he really is, because obviously everyone charges at him and he can just take hits and just dish out like as much damage as he needs to one punch them. So when Saitama is immediately running back, to put into context, like that's got to be like seconds right after the blast is over, so that blast sent him flying across the city, immediately like running back, no issue. That panel at the bottom is great when like he's like kind of running up the wall slightly and then Orochi's just kind of there towering. It's gorgeous. And then obviously Saitama flies at him and it's just so great because that whole time he's got the punch going and Orochi finally uses those cool energy dragons he's got on his top. He's like bam bam bam, tries to power him. Saitama basically flaps his arms and legs, which is just a real kind of show. But what I love is that punch stays there. It's like the unstoppable force, you know, like that punch is coming for Orochi and you can't stop it, so he avoids it. And that's to be fair to Orochi, it's not like Saitama, like no one's dodged Saitama before, but to dodge him at that size is incredible. And then obviously he blasts that massive attack down, which is great. Like the truth of like Orochi is he's a big old bad monster. And then of course Saitama dodges it and immediately bam, and the fight's over. So as the fight can, like, you know, it comes to its conclusion. You know, Saitama obviously no surprise, he beats Orochi no issue. Like it's One Punch Man. It's what we do. And Orochi's kind of final words are obviously like, what was that technique? And Saitama goes, that's a normal punch, which is why I say, like, which is probably why I bought the series before now I think about it, because obviously Saitama, you know, that's a regular punch for Saitama. He's not really, like, it's a punch he's used to throwing 1,000 times before. It's not one he's really tried with before. It's not like he's put a serious punch, and, like, obviously the scale of the serious punch is a lot more what he used against Boros than what he did against Orochi, but to kind of put into context, you know, these kind of level of opponents are still no match for this man. And Orochi's final words are, you know, so this is terror. And Orochi finally, like, gets what it is to feel fear. And it's not like his goal was as a character was to feel fear, but it was just such a great way to end it off, you know? So, like, obviously this big, scary monster, the scariest designed monster in One Punch Man, has finally understood what it is to feel fear, you know? He has been, I was nothing but impressed with Orochi, from what we've seen of him before. So for him to feel fear just really kind of echoes through, like, what his character is, and he's done. And I guess there's a debate going on in the community of, is Orochi alive or dead? For me, Orochi's dead. I can't see, like, if Saitama throws a punch against someone, unless he wants them to live, they live. I think he let Rove live because he thinks he's a dog, and I think, like, he spares humans. We've seen this. Like, if he's fought against a human, just because, like, for example, Tan-Top Black Hole, Tan-Top Tiger, they're not Dragon Plus level opponents because they beat Saitama because they survived a punch from Saitama. He just holds back on them. But I think it just says more than anything, like, you know, what was I going to say? What does it say? What does it say, Matt? What does it say? What it says about these characters, I guess. I guess it just really symbolizes Saitama's strength, and, like, you know, it's similar to Boros. Boros wanted to feel a fight that he could enjoy, and Saitama basically gave him that, and, you know, it's kind of his comeuppance, like, you know, he felt fear. So, Orochi, like I said, I think he's gone. However, there is one bit of the chapter I did actually miss out on, and this is the only way I can see Orochi surviving, is through monster cells, because as we've been told, the Orochi's monster cell inside him, which I imagine, at first I was like, Orochi has a monster cell, I'm confused, but he is the one who produces monster cells, so kind of like a mother monster cell, like the alpha monster cell he's got inside of him is like, this is like a powerful opponent, like he truly got it was. Like, that's the equivalent of his heart, which says something about Orochi to build him up even more, actually, is the fact, like, you know, his heart is like, you know, heart, like, you know, people are like, I feel this in my heart that this is the right thing to do or this is bad. Orochi's heart creates monsters. That's how bad of a guy Orochi is. So, obviously, we get the moment where, so, like, I think if there's any way, is if the monster cell in Orochi survived, and then it goes into it that way, so he lives through it. So if someone finds the monster cell, not necessarily like turn into Orochi, but turn into like an Orochi hybrid, or like a next level Orochi, or like the next version of Orochi, kind of. So maybe they get Orochi powers. If it was anyone, let's face it, it'd probably be Garo at this point, because he's the only kind of person down there who would, unless Wagonma. Please, oh my god, if it was Wagonma. If it was Wagonma, would anyone really complain? I wouldn't. No, what about Wagonma? So, as, like I said, it ends. King's, I'll get on to King, as to why I mentioned King. So, Orochi's head falls down the valley as well, and as we know, King's kind of gone missing. And here's what I think is going to happen, and this is going to build up the mythology of King even more, is because I think King is going to, like, you know, he's going to be wandering around. I think he's going to be hiding on purpose to try and avoid monsters, and obviously, like, earthquakes, everything like that. So I think logically he probably someone like Nian. It might be a different executive, but obviously because Nian's kind of running around the association as well. Is if Nian goes after King, he's like, I can take down King and take the reputation as like the next monster, like, you know, the monster who took down the legendary strongest man in the world, King. And he goes around the corner, and King is going to be standing there bloody with Orochi's head behind him, and Nian's going to be like, fuck this, and then just get out of there. How great would it be if King is standing in front of Orochi's head? And that's what, and now everyone, like, assumes that King took down Orochi, because it'd be another victory for King over Saitama. Yeah, I guess that's kind of my predictions for stuff. But overall, this chapter was fantastic. It's great to see my boy fight. Orochi is my favourite monster, so I am sad to see him go in that sense, but at the same time, it was up against my favourite hero, so I don't have any complaints. I thought the fight was incredibly entertaining. You know, like, I guess, like I said, with Orochi out there now, there's a lot of possibilities of where it could go. Saitama's probably going to be down there still for a bit, as he knows about monsters. So personally, I think, I hope we don't see Saitama for a bit, to be honest. But we have to see Saitama because he's the main character, right? But at the same time, I'm okay with taking breaks from him, as long as we get to see him every now and again, kind of, like, as jokes more than anything. So obviously, you know, he's either wandering around the association, or like he dodged Hellfire and Galewind, Nian and Rover too. But like this, I think is enough to satisfy people for a while until Saitama gets his next fight. I think the next fight he'll have will be against Black Sperm, because of, like, as I've said before, like the simple designs. I think they're very powerful, because obviously Saitama, Tatsumaki and Black Sperm, all their very simple designs. They have simple modes, so I'm ready to see what they can all do. But I think, my guess is Saitama's going to fight Black Sperm at some point. Any case, apart from that, I think that's pretty much all I've got to say. And I feel like okay. I wish I could have got it out sooner though, because I was really hyped about it and considering the live reaction. But yes. Thank you all for watching. I hope you liked the review. Give it a like if you did. Subscribe if you want to see more. Let me know what you thought about this chapter. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Do you think Orochi's alive? Do you think he's dead? Are you sad to see him go because he's dead? Yeah, and thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Look at these intense lights that are coming off me because I'm serious series. No, because that's not a thing anymore. Goodbye.